This is Zeus. Welcome to my now. I was just doing a little bit of painting, working on the eyeballs. I had it done, and then I was working on something to make some eyebrows. Kind of messed it up a little bit, but it's okay. Paint over it. I wanted to talk about today the AAA. Triple A to ascending, right? And personally, I've felt the ascension to something better as a result of implementing some of these things in my life. Now, have I been perfect at it? In the moment, I'm always perfect, just like you are. And in that perfection that we are in the moment, because it has to be, because it's a vibrational essence that pivots us into the fractionalized fractal, which we are, of God, right now to experience what we experience. It's interesting when you think about it, isn't it? But anyway, the triple A's, number one is appreciation and acknowledgement and the allowing of the moment. The triple A's, the appreciation, the acknowledgement, and the allowing of it in your life for what it's meant to be in the moment, right? And so in this perfect moment of now, we walk into this perception in the full knowledge of who we are, right? And sometimes I personally have gotten into what's called fear moments, and I didn't learn shit on it, and I was running around like a chicken with his head cut off, right? Without any direction, right? And the direction, we could go into the head cutting off part too, because your head was chopped off when you actually learned the Ten Commandments. You're saying, what the fuck are you talking about, mate? I didn't get me head cut off because look, it's right here. Well, guess what? You did on a informational, spiritual level. We say, well, what are you talking about? I've never been in a position where that happened. Well, you didn't know what you didn't know, just like I didn't, right? Because the moment they asked me to memorize a neuro-linguistic program, neuro-linguistic program. Studying in school. Don't listen to people because you're always right, but listen to me. Now, this is an interesting concept because truly you are always right in the perception that you're at, but now what is your perception of the situation? Because if we understand who God is, and God is nothing but love. Okay, now can you see the actual oil and water mixture? Now we have the yin and the yang, because if there's anything outside of love, it came from who? Did it come from God? Oh no, it's the fucking devil that did that. Oh, really? Really? That's a funny thing, because I used to blame it on other stuff. Actually, I was talking to a friend over at a meeting, and this friend, because normally they ask for you to get a sponsor or something like that. A sponsor being someone that's worked the program is actually Alcoholics Anonymous. The Triple A's. No, that's not part of the Triple A. It's a design program in order to bring in victim mentality in a very effectual way. And why is that? So this guy, I was talking to him, he's talking about getting a sponsor, right? He said, well, I didn't even have to find my sponsor. My sponsor came up to me and said, I'm your sponsor. And I thought to myself, that's pretty interesting, right? Now, how do you find a sponsor? And most people never, ever think about it. But I'll tell you this right off the bat, if someone comes to me and tells me they're going to show me how to live, I am now accepting the fact that this person made me a victim, although subtle and in a loving and genuine way, I'm sure, because he wanted to help and the other guy needed help, right? But now, when the choice is taken away on where to go and how to flow, that now opens up the door to victim mentality. Do you understand? And I didn't quite understand at the moment that he told me this, but in the same token, Spirit opened up the door to me, because anytime I have no control in a situation, I am now accepting the fact that I, a creator that was made just like God, am now victim to the circumstances that are around me, because I am now dreaming, because I'm basing my life upon situations, circumstances, and people that are outside my control. And that's my control. So it's kind of like, even though you choose not to make a choice, you still have made a choice. You chose not to have a choice. You chose not to have a choice. So anyway, in the AAAs, we're going back to a situation happens in my life. I am not too keen on this situation. Well, drinking my distilled water with salt, honey, and spirulina inside it. It's really good. It does take a taste change, and I had a taste change when I was dating this one girl outside of my marriage, because I just broke up with my wife, and I decided the way I needed to fix this issue was with what I was eating. So I found a NutriBullet, and I decided I was going to go, the 30 days doing the NutriBullet every morning and still eating the same foods. And it seemed like I drifted away from eating meat because I no longer had a passion for it. I no longer choose to kill things in order to survive. Kill things that have more of a conscious level. They move around, they get around, and stuff like that. To take a life from something like that just seems disparaging. To shoot a bird while it's in flight seems to me quite disparaging. To shoot anything that is alive seems like it is actually quite disparaging, and it basically takes away my own ability to survive, because guess what? All is me, because I created it for my own entertainment purposes. Just like this video is made for nothing but entertainment purposes. Entertaining the mind and learning more about self and figuring out what's going on. Leo Buscaglia had stated, to know and not to do is not to know. But it's also on the same flip side, because when you know and then you do that which you know, which has proven to be something that works out to make you feel better, is to know. And does it always stay the same? Now that is an interesting thing, because I believe that every thought, while we're in what's called a holosphere, and the holosphere is every thought you think creates a brand new destination for you to travel down. So focus seems to be the most like, well, I just allow the universe to bring to me that which I don't even know exists. Well, you can't see what you've never seen before. What? You can't see what you've never seen before. You don't see colors you've never seen before. You can't hear things that you've never seen before, because it doesn't register into your mind unless you program yourself to see it and to hear it. And sometimes, with that being the case, why is that so? Well, you don't have a neural pathway for it. It's kind of like when a person first smokes marijuana, they don't get any results from it because there's not a neural pathway for it to actually interact within the natural chemicals that your brain actually produces that gives healing to the body, right? Yeah, I did say it. But again, remember, this is entertainment purposes. I am not a doctor. I am just a man that's asked so many questions, and the universe has been so good to give me people, places, things, YouTube with information on it that could help me answer those questions. You know, it's amazing, honestly. It is truly amazing that the universe loves us this much that it's given us everything that we've ever needed, right? And you've always had that which you've always needed. You just didn't know it because it was a perceptual thing, and my perception was tainted. Why? Because I watched TV. Me personally, when I was back married with my kids and my ex-wife, and we would sit down, watch TV, and make a day of it. Football wise, let's go for it. Now, funny thing is, as a person that decided I wasn't going to drink alcohol for reasons that were based upon a program that I had accepted into my own field because my mother and my ex or my stepfather were actually part of Alcoholics Anonymous. So me, as a child, at 20 years of age, after I got hit by a car, because I was drunk, okay, and I had made some unwise decisions, in fact, thinking I could do a Bruce Lee flip over this car that was just traveling 55 miles an hour because this guy was trying to kill me, right? And so I did, which indeed saved my life, but the bumper hit me in the shin, and then I basically flew up in the air and landed on my head and slid across the concrete on my head. This is a story from my past, and I am definitely not the same person because I had to relearn how to walk, talk, read, write all over again in that version of who I was. Made it through it. Should have died, right? And I did die in various different parts of that segment, right? So within this segment, we seem to always be okay. That's the funny thing. You know, when I fell off a two-story roof doing roofing, I surfed off the roof because the guy showed me an incorrect way in order to do it. And I slid down that roof and I went right over the top, straight to the ground, landed on my feet. I was perfectly fine. Nothing was wrong. He looked over the roof and said, "You okay?" I said, "Yes, I quit." And I did quit on it. "You can't do that." "Oh, yes, I can. You show me a way that did not work, and it actually made it so my life was, as perceived, in jeopardy. But there was no jeopardy there because nothing can hurt me, even though I think so, because you're an energy being that actually pumps out 700 trillion volts of electricity. 700 trillion? And I didn't hear this from just one scientist because I would definitely question that. I've heard it from scientists across the spectrum. Epigenetics. Check it out. It's Biology of Belief by Dr. Bruce Lipton. You can find it on YouTube. Now, to know and not to do is not to know. I would highly suggest. I fell asleep. It took me about 8 times to watch the show to actually get it into my mind because I would fall asleep every time I was watching it. And it's a natural occurrence anytime that you're learning something, you're growing brain pathways, neural pathways in order to store this information and come to new cognitions. Guess what? Sleep is the aspect that you actually develop. Why? Because your body is learning. Your body is learning. So, the AAAs, when you come up to appreciation of situations, this is, what's the tool for that? How do I become appreciative of situations that I deem to be bad? How do I come to an appreciation for it? Well, there's been tools I've been taught over the years is I'm supposed to pray about the situation that I can see within myself the good that is in it. How did I change in that moment? Because guess what? If I don't learn from it, I will guarantee to repeat it. And I've had many things in my life that had repeated situations because I hadn't found the true key. The true key was within me because I was always thinking it was outside situations that were determining my experience. My experience is determined inside of me using my God-given ability to imagine. Because just as Neville Goddard had stated, the imagination is the God self. The God self. Anyway, so gratitude list in the morning time when you wake up. Things I'm grateful for. See them, feel them. You could write it down, white paper, blue ink. This is called subconscious blueprinting. What am I happy for? Where am I grateful? Not always concentrating on what I really want to manifest, because the manifestation will take care of itself as soon as I become grateful about the things that I've already got. Why do I give myself more stuff if I'm not even grateful for what I got? Right? Why do I get more stuff for myself if I'm not even appreciative of the stuff that I've got? Appreciating it. How do I appreciate it? I make it the most wonderful place for me to be because it's my sanctuary. I'm talking about my apartment. I would let it get a little bit stockpiled with stuff and let it spread out because it's my workspace. It's where I paint. It's what I do. And sometimes, I never really thought about making sure for myself that my tools were always in a clean space. I just kind of it's almost like back in the day when I worked at my uncle's garage, which was attached to a junkyard, and he was a tow truck driver. It was a very messy place, very messy. And, it is what it is. And so that messy place that was within me was also experienced on the outside world. And it does the same, but it also blocks your money supply. So I've been told. And so I've actually made a concerted effort to be a different version of me, because that version never existed. Right? Once I choose to make a change, those versions don't even exist anymore. And I'll give you for instance, okay? There was a young lady that I met at a SIA convention, right? And only she will know this story, maybe a couple of friends. But I met her there and we clicked right off the bat. She was so beautiful. She's got such a great mind, and she ate the same way I ate, thought the same way I thought, was a reader. She reads all the time. She still is a reader as far as I know. But she lived in Florida. My biggest no was on dating and stuff like that, and it's long distance relationships. And I have been that way since I was a kid. I don't know where I got it. I mean, I figure, because I moved, so I thought, from Australia to America at a young age, and I developed this detachment skill. And I call it a skill because I really don't put much stock into futuristic events. And so this lady I met, young lady, she's a beautiful young lady. She is well off. She's living her best life now, right? And she basically, we fell in love. It was so beautiful. I mean, I think it was almost like love at first sight, because I still love her. I mean, my goodness. She feels so good to me when I think about her, and I pray for her all the time. Send her love, send her all the things that she can need. And anyway, she flew up from Florida, and we spent 10 days together. And we drove across the country, and the 10 days were absolutely heaven on earth. And that's what the whole idea was at the time the universe gave me. It said discuss anything about the future while you're spending time together. Just be the highest version of self, and everything else will work out. And that's what we did. And we drove across the country, back to Indiana, down again to Kentucky, back up to Indiana in 10 days. And in the 10 days, we were inseparable. Inseparable. We just bonded in every single way. It felt so good. Then she said, well, through the discussions and that, she's got plans to go to Japan and go all these other places that I was not a participant about, but she was going to come in the springtime. And it was about 7 months down the road, and I'm like, I'm not feeling that. And some of the pathways that she chose were all personal pathways in order to help herself. And I thought to myself, in 7 months, in 7 minutes, a person can change like that once they choose to. And the pathway that she chose to go, she asked me to be her boyfriend and wait for the 7 months, and she would come back. And I was like, no, you can't do that. I said, we were sitting talking at the airport, and believe me, every ounce of me loved her. In fact, I believe, I kind of like, she asked me to be her boyfriend when she was leaving. I was like, to think I wasn't already gave me the instances like, okay, there's something here, right? And I said, no. I said, you're going to change so much in the 7 months, you won't even know me, and I won't even know you, right? And then when she left, I was like in a fog, a big brain fog, because I was like, I really fucked up, because she was like everything that I'd ever wanted. I know this is a long video, but I just wanted to share this, right? And so, a year later, we look at who she was, and she's got a video program, and I could see her before she started the development series, and then after to now. Okay, so she was a vegan vegetarian, right? Now she's a meatitarian, right? And living her best life now in a different space, right? And the only thing I can give is my love to her and pray that she always follows her best interest. And that was the way that we left it is, I just want you to be happy. Well, I think one of the last times I talked to her, she was like, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? And I was like, I want you to be happy. Someone's own happiness is so wonderful, and you could see them going through it. I want my happiness, and so for me to not want happiness for the other versions of me, the other fractals, would be absolutely insane, because guess what? Each one of us, all is one. There is no real separation, but separation was created for ourselves to have the experience that we have. If we were all in one pool, which we are, but it doesn't seem like it, we wouldn't really quite have the individual experiences that we have right now in order to feel this all. And so with us feeling it and then seeing it, then we can say, okay, how real is this? Well, it's just a hologram. And the hologram is basically for me to feel what I feel. And when you go through it, you're always in the right place. You're always feeling what you need to feel, whether you feel sadness, whether you feel happiness, whether you feel joy. There's always a choice. And remember, the feeling that I have at the moment is always going to be the attractant of what's coming to me next. This is the key. You can change it anytime you want When you get tired of feeling a particular way, or you get tired of doing something that you know that you better than, you can do it anytime you want. You just have to sit down for a second, appreciate the lesson. Appreciate it. Allow it. Let it happen. Right? You agree with it. Because, honestly, just acknowledging the fact that it happened. Sometimes you don't want to look at shit. And I didn't want to look at shit. In fact, she had asked me, when we were talking, she goes, it was so wonderful when we spent so much time together. It was so fun. And I was like, you know what? It never even happened. Truthfully, the past never happened. You can choose to think about anything you want to think because you can't touch it. And so I totally blocked it, and I told her, I don't know anything. And the reason why I did it was she started seeing her ex-boyfriend, right? And don't talk to me about how much fun we had while you're dating somebody else. I'm not saying she did anything wrong, and maybe that felt like consoling. I don't need to be consoled, right? I don't need to be consoled. If someone chooses to go someplace, and that was the one thing that I really had a core thing on, because I felt like she'd been giving me, what is it called, baiting me or breadcrumbing me in order to wait the 7 months and stuff like that, telling me how much she loved me and all this stuff here. I'm like, if someone truly loves you, and I only can speak from my own experience, right? And she's extremely, extremely smart, right? I can only speak from my own experience, but when I truly love somebody, I just give up fucking everything. And is that wrong? Well, that's what I want. I want someone that's going to give up fucking everything and just focus with me together to create what we want together. Because guess what? When I become a new being with another person, there ain't nothing on this planet like it. And anytime two or more gather together in agreement, they can create anything because it happens in heaven and on earth, which is all the same place. Because as above, so below. As above, as in heaven, so on earth. As above, as I see in my mind, so my heart vibrates, and as within, the vibration of my heart now tethers to it every vibration that's like it. Every vibration that's like it. So, it's always happening perfect, and then my acceptance of that is now saying, okay, what's better? What's coming? What's coming down the pike? Because remember, every day in every way, life gets better, better, and better. Every day in every way. Why does life get better? Because I get better, better, and better. And when I change my view of the world and how I see the world changes around me. Right? The world changes around me. I didn't really want this to be 28 minutes, but it is. I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here, and remember, today is the day of your amazing good fortune. You are going to be victorious today. Everything you do, when you know that you are the leader of your life, you are the commander of your life. Have a blessed day.